Hello and welcome to Tim's BMW Repairs and Information. Well, this job gives a lot of satisfaction for very little effort. This has been annoying me for years. The lower CSI spoiler has been looking grey and whitish and spotty. It's looked terrible for years. I've sort of ignored it as much as possible because of course it gets all the grit off the road and stuff like that, gets all the damage. Yeah, at some point someone had put a new clear coat on it. The clear coat had failed, it'd gone all white. There's all sorts of pock marks in it. Anyway, this is the result after I've redone it, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm so pleased with it. At the same time, I did the grills, but that's a bit of a story as well. Yeah, they went horribly wrong, I'm afraid, yep. And they're new ones from BMW because I've ruined the other ones, but I'll tell you all about that. Anyway, yeah, this is a simple job to do. I didn't cover anything else on the car, just went straight in and resprayed this with new stuff. Now, with the clear coat, you need to use an epoxy-based one which hardens and forms a really tough layer, especially on somewhere like that where it would pick up all the stone chips. So you have to use a 2K clear coat. The problem with 2K clear coat is you use it once, and for this I'd use what, an eighth of a tin or something, and then you'd have to throw it away, and that's because it hardens in the tin, because as soon as you use it the first time you have to pop the little thing at the bottom of the tin, then mix it all together, and that then activates the 2K clear coat, and you spray it on, it will harden on the surface. Unfortunately it hardens in the tin as well, which is what I found out when I was respraying that wing, is that 4 days later if you try to use it, it doesn't flatten anymore. Yeah, it just stays all lumpy. It's an awful mess. Anyway, I've got a new 2K clear coat which you can reuse, and I certainly had a go at reusing it a bit later, and that's right, it does all work. Anyway, we'll quickly go through how I did this. It's all pretty obvious. First of all, I just gave it a good old scrubbing with one of those sponge blocks with the emery cloth on it, and I was using 1000 grit, and that's quite enough to get that off. It took quite a lot of scrubbing. It took me probably about 10-15 minutes of scrubbing with that, right round the corner and on the top and right to the back. Sort of grey slurry came off, which was the clear coat which had gone off. Yep, and after giving it a good old scrubbing, I dried it with a sponge, checked the condition. Still wasn't perfect, so yeah, another go. And what I was doing with the sponge block was I had the normal car washing shampoo in a bucket with some hot water. That worked really well because it moves all the stuff you move straight back off again. Okay, so after that, dried it with a sponge, and then I've dried it with a hairdryer. Now the 2K clear coat takes 20 minutes to go off, or 15 minutes to go off at 20 degrees C. Unfortunately, this is February in England and it's 14 today, 13 or 14, and actually when I did the spraying it was about 7 degrees, which is much too cold to do this sort of work. So we need a hairdryer for two reasons. First of all, to get all the moisture off, and also to warm up the spoiler as well. This is what I did. And then we gave it one quick coat, and immediately I found it was dropping, it was leaking out of the bottom of the nozzle, and all these white spots around the car here and over there where I did the grills is from that tin. It was just pouring out of it. Some of it was going, well, most of it was going on the spoiler. A lot of it was coming out the bottom of the cap, unfortunately. So that's why it's all white and spotty here. But did the job nicely. Now, as I say, 15 minutes or so at 20 degrees C. So I've got the hairdryer out, dried it all again until it was all nice and safe to the touch, so it wasn't sticky or tacky in any way. Gave it a second coat, and that seemed to do the job. And yep, that's all I did to do this. So there's no other prep on it. All I did is scrub it with a spongy thing and then spray it, dry it, spray it, dry it, and that's the result. And I must say I'm really pleased with the result. It's not an eyesore anymore. Now the next plan, I thought, well, the grills don't look quite black enough, even with the teak oil on it. Sort of teak oil is wearing off after a couple of years. I'll give those a spray as well. Yeah, as usual, things went wrong. Yeah, the spraying didn't go too bad at all. It was a bit fiddly and had to use the hairdryer to warm them up each time. And I dried them for a bit with the hairdryer and stuck them back on. I thought, that's absolutely brilliant. Yet the next morning, the sort of dampness in the air had got onto the grills and made tiny little white spots. I thought, oh, well, that's not really good enough. I think what I'll do is I'll respray them again. Yeah, that's okay, no problem. Resprayed, looked lovely, nice and shiny. And then I put them on the heater to dry after I'd done a bit of hair drying, because I thought, well, the problem is that it doesn't go off fully, which is why water getting on it will cause these white spots. Yeah, unfortunately, they melted. Yeah, this is the scene of the accident. Yeah, I put them on here to dry them off. Unfortunately, that one failed rather spectacularly. Yeah, it just sort of conformed itself to the shape of the heater. Now, I have used this before for drying things, but unfortunately I pressed the wrong switch and I put it onto full power rather than 600 watts, which is fine for drying things like this. And that was the end of that. I mean, look at that. That's just terrible. That's the one I tried to reshape numerous times and it never got any better. The other one didn't do too bad in the end. That one actually still looks perfectly usable. Yep, I managed to save one and bend it back into the right shape. Second one, yeah, I tried everything. I tried reheating it and straightening it up with pliers and stuff like that. Yeah, that didn't work. And then I tried boiling it. It becomes quite malleable when you boil them. That didn't work. So yeah, I'm afraid I had to revert to buy new ones. Now, I bought them from the BMW shop in the UK and they arrived 2 days later. So I ordered them on the Sunday. On Tuesday, they'd arrived, which is absolutely fantastic. 35 quid per side. Now, if you buy them from eBay, as long as you buy them from the BMW shop, you're okay, you get them for 35. Buy them from Latvia or Lithuania, they'll cost you 60, 70 quid per side. Yep, 140 quid for both sides. Yeah, so don't do that. BMW still have them in stock. Even after I bought this pair, they're still showing in stock. So not a problem at all. So I think I might respray these because even though they're brand new, they're not as shiny as the spoiler is or the rest of the front stuff here. So that's good. Right, removing the grills, this is how you do it. The way you get them out is important because you don't want to force this end in case you break the tab. So it's always start at the inside, wiggle that out, and then this one you can more or less slide out. There we go, without putting any force on the tabs at all. Not sure if so yeah, it's these tabs here which are, especially if the FTP hasn't been changed, these will be brittle and they're easy to snap. So it's worth deciding at some point whether you want to respray the grills with the possibility of snapping the tabs off. These are 200 quid per side from BMW, the FTP plastic and glass work. The loom's another 200 quid. So yeah, it's not cheap. So yeah, it's about 800 quid if you wanted to replace everything for the FTPs both sides. So let's go through this again. Get it nice and close and then wiggle it up and down and it'll go in. That one went in rather easier than I expected. And then the outside one, little bit at a time. There we go, he's in. So that's a brand new number plate, by the way, and in fact this is what brought it all on. I bought a new number plate because the other one was starting to deteriorate, a couple of lines down it. And when I stuck that on, I thought, oh God, that lower CSI spoiler just looks terrible. I have to do something about it. And I had the 2K Clearcoat because I'm going to respray the boot at some point. So there you go. Yeah, fantastic job. Yeah, lots of reward, little effort. Very pleased with it. If that helps you, put the thumbs up. Oh yeah, keep commenting, love the comments, read them all, try and reply as soon as possible. And yeah, keep subscribing. I'll see you in the next one.